Love and longing. She wakes up but doesn't open her eyes. Strong arms around her, soft, soothing breathing. Vernon's awake too. He snores when he's deeply asleep. It had thrown her off and confused her the first few times, but now it was comforting. Knowing he was right there was a comfort, knowing that he was not only there but trying to allow her to rest more fully was sweet. "Good morning," she whispers to him and is pulled in closer. "Good morning." He returns and makes no move to get out of the bed and just holds her closer. "Anything special you want to do today?" She lets her thoughts drift and consider. There's some training happening in the Empress's castle. All princesses are invited to refine their skills so as to better serve should war be upon us. "So you'd like to have the other princesses burning with rage as I'm cheering you on?" Vernon asks, and Miran Noir starts giggling into him at the idea. "It won't take long to make a banner for me to wave as you fight." "Oh, Vernon," she gushes as she cuddles into him. She can imagine it. There wouldn't be much jealousy, not as much as Vernon's implying at any rate. It was rare for a princess to be unmarried, let alone unmarried as long as she was. It was even rarer for a princess to not be the first wife in the marriage. So many people would be there to be shown off. Although, well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? After so many girls tittered up their sleeves about her being the matchless, and now, a man all her own, a soldier, a scholar, a sweetheart, a sorcerer. Oh yes, she's going to be bringing her Vernon to the training circle. After all, there isn't any other princess that has her man all to herself. "What are you thinking of, my love?" Vernon asks gently, and she sighs in happiness. "Oh, nothing. Just that it would be fun to have you there as I go to train. After all, you learn so quickly and fully with all you see. No doubt you could teach everyone a few things," she remarks. "I could also grow a tree near the circle so the other sorcerers could watch. Or am I the only one you want there? I could get an entire team to cheer you on if you want." "Oh no, you're all I need," she replies as she finally opens her eyes to look up at him. His eyes are open as well, and there's a gentle smile on his face. "Good morning," he says again, and she can't help the smile as her heart flutters again. She stretches just a little and kisses him on the chin. "Good morning. I think we should get up, or we'll spend the whole day cuddling." "Lord forbid something so horrible happens," Vernon teases as they both sit up. His eyes are instantly away from her to look towards the incubator pod in the corner. All the readings are completely stable as their eggs are kept at the perfect temperature, pressure, and atmospheric composition. "Still a little nervous?" she asks him, and he nods. "I will never not worry for and want to improve the lot of our children." "You'll be a wonderful father, don't you worry. You have all the little warnings and monitoring devices cued into your communicator, and you've already outright walked back the moment you got a false alarm. If you're even half as attentive when they hatch, I'll have to worry about you spoiling them rotten. You know you can spoil someone sweet as well." Vernon counters, and she giggles in amusement at the idea. "Oh, you would try that, wouldn't you?" Miran Noir reacts to his threat as she stands upright out of their shared bed. She stretches upwards and feels the sleepiness leave her before a warm hand catches her tail by the tip. It's quickly joined by another tracing warm lines up its fine scales, and she shudders in delight before regaining her senses. "Not now, Vernon. We have a day ahead of us." She chides him, and there's a twist of axiom, and he's suddenly beside her. There was perhaps a fraction of the amount of axiom normally needed for a teleport. His talent in keeping his axiom profile small, even while actively using it, was growing so swiftly that before the year's end she assumes he'll simply not make any noise no matter what kind of skill or sorcery he weaves in the axiom. And that level of skill, of stealth and ability would be terrifying in the hands of anyone other than her Vernon. She wasn't totally sure that she could trust herself with that kind of power. The temptation. What wrong? Vernon asks. He and she smiles at him. Just worrying about nothing. My mother says it's normal at this stage. That would explain a lot about my own thought process. I'll get breakfast started. You take all the time you need. He says, kissing her on the cheek, and she sighs. It may officially be over, but the honeymoon was still just getting started. As she's freshening up the last few touches of her face in the mirror, she pauses and examines the incubator through the reflection. Vernon had been all but dancing on pins and needles for how nervous he was when she first laid them. He had all but physically consumed a small library worth of books and had accidentally stumbled into hardcore kink porn trying to look up videos on how to help her with the process. She had laughed so hard that she almost pushed them out early. Everything was going right. Her little niggling worries were fading away as she just basked in the romantic epic she had suddenly found herself in. One that was reciprocal. Vernon had confided in her that this seemed too good to be true from his angle as well. Apparently, on Earth people like him didn't get this kind of happiness. She'd done a touch of personal research to find that he was exaggerating a little. After all, how could a species so open to affection and love on such a grand scale not understand such deep love? The stories that were being told about them, how much attention they lavished on their wives, is something out of a storybook. Breakfast is a simple but satisfying affair with a few small sauces on Vernon's plate to help him enjoy it all the more. But they do have a day to get to, so they quickly finish up and Vernon freshens up himself. He's always dressed so practically. It's what he finds most comfortable, and yet it ties in so well to him being a sorcerer, it's almost comedic. His big stompy combat boots and the digital camouflage pants clash and yet complement her expressive red gowns. The color offsets perfectly, and the practicality offsets the prestige. His stark black t-shirt offsets all the color of her gown just as well. "Shall we?" he asks, holding out his hand to her as they walk out the back door and he steps onto the grass. "I believe we shall. The training is in the western courtyard." Miran Noir answers, and Vernon kisses her on her gloved hand, and the world seems to dissolve into flower petals. The world reshapes into the enormous gardens right next to the training circle. Miran Noir can't help but gasp. She hadn't known that the gardens here were connected to the dark woods. Vernon smiles at her and gives her a wink with a smile. "How much of—" she begins to ask, and he puts a finger to her lips. "Don't worry. There is no danger so long as the Empress remains worthy of your loyalty." Vernon assures her, and her heart flutters while there's also a slight feeling of worry. He would face the Empress for her. Of course he would. It's her Vernon. He walked away from a title just because he couldn't trust himself in the presence of one who had insulted her. This may be interesting. Some of the princesses could have cruel tongues. He takes his finger away and pecks her on the lips, and as he pulls back she leans in and the kiss is extended as her arms find their way over his shoulders and he holds her gently around the waist. Time melts away, and the kiss breaks off and she rests her head against his strong chest. "My, oh my! That is you, Miran Noir." A voice interrupts them, and both Miran Noir and Vernon turn to regard Lilangura, Miran Noir's senior war princess by 10 tournaments. "I must say, you've developed an interesting taste in men. What's the matter? Too hungry to be more discerning? Not able to catch or lure a proper apook? Do you want to kill her, or shall I?" Vernon asks Miran Noir too lightly for Lilangura to catch, and she can't help but break into giggles. "Oh? Is something funny?" Lilangura demands. "Only that deformity on your skull, madam. Excuse us," Vernon says as he leads Miran Noir away from Lilangura and out of the garden. "Deformity? What deformity? Hey, come back here, you tret buffoon, and tell me what deformity." Lilangura shouts after them, and Miran Noir fights down the urge to laugh as Vernon grins nastily. "That Sir Philip is an awful influence on you, my love." Miran Noir chides him as she forces down the giggles. By awful you mean wonderful, I hope. There are so many little things I would never catch on to without his guidance, Vernon says happily. The moment they step out of the garden, there's almost a complete change in environment. The last flowering tree is crossed, and they're instantly in an open field with the training circle ahead and beyond it a beautiful view of the ocean beyond. There are small flocks of sailing boats being powered by the wind, some for fishing, others for play, and some more for sweet rendezvous between Apuk women and their beloved husbands. Of course, that could just be her own happiness coloring things. A happiness that only grows as a pale-skinned Apuk with dark hair and a blue gown races up. Miran Noir, oh my heavens, it's so good to see you. Hilg Jute, oh, it's so good to see you again. Miran Noir gushes, rushing ahead and embracing Hilg Jute. They kiss each other on the cheeks and hold each other's hands and step back for a more appropriate distance, but there's a clear spark in Hilg Jute's eyes. Good goddess Miran Noir, you were just looking for the perfect moment, weren't you? An exotic sorcerer soldier for a husband, and all for yourself? If you told me you were looking for an entire planet made of axiom ride, I would have had an easier time thinking you could find such a thing. I'm so happy for you. Hilg Jute gushes. Oh, thank you, Hilg Jute. I was worried that some of the other princesses would be spiteful about this, especially after Lilngura tried to... Oh, don't you worry about that bitter tit. She pushed to become a princess to stand out to her husband and had to full-on fight her sister-wife for position of first wife after the tournament. She tries so hard to get everything to happen the way she wants it. Ah, jealousy. Something you must inspire a great deal of my love. I'm shocked I didn't see it sooner. Vernon notes as he walks up. And look at you. Oh my Mimi. The rumors are true. The grounds are bursting into flower in your footsteps. All the way back to the gardens, I had heard that sorceress visitors tend to arrive through it, but I hadn't seen it before. So it is known that the gardens are connected to the wood. Oh my yes, Miran Noir. I understand that you served as roaming eyes for the Empire as you went from world to world, and good on you for doing so, but as I stayed behind I held a few shifts as guardian in the palace. You learn many wonderful things here. One of the Empress's ancestors, a great-uncle I believe, was a sorcerer, and he planted the garden as his little home away from home. Or rather, his home in his niece's home. It's not a surprise in the slightest that the garden is connected to the dark forests, or the wood as those who spend so much time with sorcerers know it as. So you have nothing to worry about, my love. That's good to... Vernon begins before a hand grabs him on the shoulder and spins him around to be eye-to-eye with Lilngura. I asked you a question, Tret. What deformity? She snarls at him and he snarls right back. The twisted mind that would prompt such foul behavior from one that should know better, I thought it obvious. Vernon hisses at her as blades of grass start to curl over and grab at her shoes. You impertinent little... Lilngura's breath has bright green sparks in it as her fists clench. I've got a full foot on you, shorty. Vernon snarls. Okay, let's play nice, shall we? We're all citizens in good standing here. No need to change that for the worse. Hilg Jute says, getting between the two and forcing both to take a step back. Vernon, it's supposed to be me getting into fights today. Although I must say, when we get back home tonight, we may be doing another kind of fighting entirely if this keeps up. Miran Noir whispers to Vernon as she considers the incubation pod back at home. If he keeps trying to defend her, there may be call for a second one soon.